Hey, good morning, everybody. Eric Nentrup, once again, your host for the Keep Indiana Learning 2022 Virtually Different Summer Conference. And on this morning's Partner Showcase, I'm super happy and excited to introduce you to Miriam Bogler, CEO and founder of Project Pals. And why this is near and dear to my heart, I was a passionate classroom educator for project-based learning. It's what drew me into my second career as an educator. And can't wait to hear more about why Miriam started Project Pals, what problems she solved, and how she's helping Indiana educators infuse their instruction with project-based learning, do it for all age levels, and make it easy for teachers. So I introduce you to Miriam Bogler. Hi, Miriam.
Hi. Hi, Eric. How are you?
Very good. So excited today.
Okay, cool. I'm excited to present Project Pals to you. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you here. My name is Miriam Bogler, and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Pals. Before creating Project Pals, I used to be a computer teacher. I used to have students come to my computer lab to work on projects. And I got a little bit concerned that they were struggling with problem solving and critical thinking. And so what I did is it became clear to me that something needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So
I had a similar experience myself, Miriam, with my students when I felt like we were just playing school versus actually doing authentic or real world learning. And I saw all these ways with my prior career to make instruction more engaging. And I'm guessing that was similar for you when you were in the classroom.
Myself again, I'm sorry about this technical thing. My name is Miriam Bogler. I'm the founder and CEO of Project Pals. Before creating Project Pals, I used to be a computer teacher. I used to have students come to my computer lab to work on projects, and became a little bit concerned that they were struggling with problem solving and critical thinking. But it became clear that I needed to do something when they were doing robotics, and they were building their robots from blueprints. And by the end of the process, it became clear that they did not acquire the skills that were necessary for them to build any robot that they were imagining. So what I did is basically, what I learned from this, that in addition to learning to build the robot, they also needed to learn the underlying concepts, such as how gears work and what is torque. And they also needed to understand the foundational knowledge that's necessary for them to be able to solve any problem that they will encounter in the project. So in order to help them, what I did is created a FileMaker database that recorded the entire process from design through investigation. And what they were able to do is record every step of their building process, and which eventually became this huge database that they were able to always revisit. Whenever they built a new robot, they were able to go back to that database. And also other teams could learn from other teams' experiences using the same database. So, so this was a Title I school in LA, and this program became a huge success. These kids never wanted to go home after every class. And what I learned from this is that this learning method should not just be something that we are using in robotics, but should be something that students use in every problem-solving situation. And eventually, this database became my blueprint for building Project Pals. So when I introduce Project Pals to you, you will see that in addition to real-time collaboration and project management, and also real-time student assessment, there's also an emphasis on problem solving and critical thinking. So you already understand that we are great believers in project-based learning. And let me just share my screen with you. And okay. So we are, as I said, we are great believers in project-based learning. In fact, there is plenty of research that backs up the fact that project-based learning increases learning outcomes. Just a year ago in February, the George Lucas Foundation came out with a study about how project-based learning increases learning outcomes. But implementing project-based learning and inquiry-based learning is challenging because it's difficult to manage multiple projects, especially if the teacher has a lot of classes. And also in a team, it's difficult for the teacher to know who did what in the project. In fact, this is one of the major issues that teachers are facing. So what we created is an all-in-one platform to manage classroom projects and collaborative learning. And the fact that we did it with technology, of course, makes projects easier to manage. That's also why companies are using softwares like Trello, Monday, and Jira in order to collaborate not just within the company, but countrywide and worldwide many times. And that's also the reason why in 2025, this will become an $8 billion business, yet education has not really tackled this. Our mission is to make high
Miriam,
quality. Yes.
just to clarify, back on that last slide, did you just say that project-based learning, project management, that's what I meant to say, is now or will be projected to be an $8 billion business, just project management?
In 2025, yes.
No kidding. Okay, that makes it even more important to me to see students, particularly later on in their K-12 education, understand some of the basics and foundations of project management, regardless of how they apply it. Right? It's not
Right.
only about authentic learning and student engagement in the present for teenagers and younger students, but it's about equipping them with future-ready skills, for lack of a better phrase. Right?
That's right.
Okay.
So our mission is to make high quality project-based learning accessible for all students. And what that means is that teachers can manage projects end to end within our platform. So they can design and plan and design a project. Students can collaborate in real time. Teachers can monitor and respond in real time, and projects can be shared with parents and with people outside of the school. Teachers can design an original project or choose from our more than 250 projects in the Project Files catalog that can be immediately cloned and assigned to a class. Students can collaborate in real time, and what that means is that any project asset that students contribute can be seen by their team members in real time. So if I contribute this text box, they can see that happening in real time. If I'm going to move this image on workspace, they can see the image as it is moving on the workspace. Teachers can monitor student progress with transparency and accountability. And what that means is that we track student contribution. And so these charts are going to help the teachers to see how much time the students spent in the system, how many sessions in and out they did, how many actions they performed, and how many collaborations. And by that, we mean that they collaborate on the same project asset together, or they comment on each other's work. This pie chart that shows the percent of contribution by each student is the only analytics that students can see. And based on our experience, this is a great motivator because nobody likes to be the smallest piece of the pie.
No.
Let me just switch to the application itself.
Okay.
And so this is Project Pals, and these every single one of these are project tiles that you can see. The plus button here allows a teacher to create a new project. There are 3 ways to create projects in Project Pals. The one that we highly recommend that teachers start with is to go to the Project Pals catalog and pick one of our projects there and start by cloning that project. And I'm going to show you in a minute how the whole entire process works. And the other 2 is just using our project wizard to either combine our one-tap templates into a project that the teacher can customize to her or his specific needs. So instead of having to do everything from scratch, you can use our one-tap template, and you'll understand in a minute what that means. To combine them in ways that will address more specific needs of the teacher. And the last one is when the teacher feels really comfortable using Project Pal, they can create a project from scratch. But let me take you through the process of how the whole process works. So this is the Project Pals catalog. I'm not going to go too much into it. What I'm going to do is pretend that I am here in the catalog and I already found a project that I am interested in. and I will then go and so here is one that is really a project-based learning project that says how to design a new park that supports local plant life. And what I'm doing here is basically, in order to see what's inside, I can click on it and open it up. So I'm not going to do that now, but I'm going to, in a minute, you'll see exactly what's inside. But what I wanted to show is whenever you hover over any of our projects in the catalog, there's a clone button that gets revealed, and you can click on the clone button, and that tells you that the project is being created. So in a minute, I'm going to just refresh the screen, and there it is next to the plus button, always shows up next to the plus button. So what happened here is that I took a project from the catalog, which I wasn't able to edit or change or do anything to it, copied it. It was copied to my draft, which is the area where teachers authored their project before they assigned it to the class. And now when I click on I'm going to go in, and it created for me a copy that now I can edit. And so now I can open it, and this now I can see the project. So this is the area where students are doing the project, and what you see, the panel on the right, this is the project dashboard. This is basically the project management part. And so what you see here, things like detail, the project detail, which I'm not going to go into right now, but it's details about the project. You have descriptions, you have images, stuff like that. Team members is the list of team members that we have here. Standards, you can very easy to add standards in project files. In fact, there's a drop down that you can select the type of standards you're interested in, NGSS, Common Core, and you just have to select. I mean, just to show you for a minute, you just have to select, let's say we are selecting Common Core, and then we are selecting English language and selecting a grade level. And then we get all the standards for 6th grade English language. And then all the teacher has to do is just select the ones that apply and add selected standards. And voila, there are the standards that the teacher just selected. And of course, we also, as I said before, we have supporting materials, the ability to add any supporting materials, and those can be added by both teachers and students. Tasks, and I said before, project management, very important, very easy to add tasks. I'm just going to review for a little, the title, the due date, you have a due date and a description of, and so on. So basically, you can add as many tasks as you want. And of course, when you are adding tasks, one of the problems you are solving is students coming to you in a team when they are working in a team and complaining that somebody doesn't carry their weight in the project. So this definitely solves that problem. And in addition to any other problems, also training them for the job market. Once they step out to the job market, they will have to handle this all the time. And assign to class, there's two ways to assign to the class. One of them is to, when you decide, the teacher decides who's going to be in the team. And the other one is when you want to give them more independence, and you can then delegate it to team leaders who then will decide who's going to work with them in the team. Evaluate is the rubrics. This is where you will add rubrics for the project. And analytics, right now, you will see nothing because this is just a template right now. It wasn't assigned yet. So in a minute, though, I will be able to show you how the analytics looks and what other information you're getting. As I said before, this is where the work is happening. These are tabs, like tabs in the browser. And what's happening here, this project, as I said, these kids have to design a park with local plant life. So what you see here, this is the brainstorming part. And actually, each of these location, community, attraction, activities, they are all consideration that students need to take before they plan a park. And so the idea here is that each student in the team could take one of these and delve deeper into it. So they start by brainstorming first, but then they will have, if we move on here, then this is going to be the expert who's going to decide on the location of the park.
Oh, yeah.
And they have to consider, whether there's public transportation there, whether there's, parking. I mean, all these things have to be considered, and they can come up with several suggestions like that. In addition to that, of course, they will also send, and we incorporate with Google, so there is a survey here that
Oh, cool.
that they can send out to the community to ask their opinion about it. And then once they get the result, they can display it as a chart here, the responses. And then they can, in a team, they can use the digital sticky notes to actually brainstorm about it and decide on one specific location. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but you understand that each of these are going to be done by a different student in the team, and they will focus on their expertise. But you also understand that unless you know the location, you will not be able to build the attractions or the landscaping. So all these
Mm-hmm.
things depend on each other. These team members have to constantly brainstorm and talk to each other about each other's whatever they found and whatever they investigated. And
Mm-hmm.
finally, in order to design their own park, this is where they will come up with a plan for designing their own park. Once they know all this information, they got everything that's necessary. This is where they will start designing their own park. And
Mm.
they also have the ability to have the team and other classmates provide feedback, and maybe they need to come up with another iteration of it, to
Hmm.
until finally everybody's happy with the outcome.
Mm.
So this is how a project looks, and just wanted to a little bit go into the analytics. And let me just go for a minute into a completed project that actually this is we are not revealing any student information here. These are all fake students. So what you see here, and this, I just wanted to show you that this is the pie chart that students can see, and that's a percentage of work that was done by each student.
Oh,
As I
wow.
said, as I said, this is a big motivator for students because nobody likes to be the smallest piece of the pie. In this case,
That's right.
they pretty much are equal in their contribution. But this is what the teacher can see. This is what you can see. And you can see here if each student has their own name, has their own color, and then you can come to a specific date and see, oh, Danielle contributed so much
Oh,
on
wow.
this date, and so on, and how many sessions and how many collaborations, as I said before, and how much time they spent in the system averages, as well as seeing the same information in a table format, the same pie chart that students can see, the teacher can see here as well. And in addition to all that, you can also see what type of contribution was made. Was it just
Oh,
text
cool.
boxes? Was it media? I mean, all the tools that you can
All
use
that's
are
all
all,
disaggregated based on their user activity into this dashboard.
that's right.
Oh,
And
that is just brilliant, Miriam.
yeah, and then in addition to all that, of course, we administrators have the ability to see analytics on a wider scale. So
Oh,
let's say that they have that they have multiple schools. They
mm-hmm.
can filter it by a school, by a specific school, type in a specific school, and see exactly what is the performance of that school,
Oh
even
my
filter it
goodness.
by class, filter it by students. I mean, the amount of information, of course, you can filter with date ranges, and it's amazing how much information you can get from as a administrator and as a
Mm-hmm.
teacher as well.
For sure. Well, I see all sorts of value and benefit to having nested analytics like that as a district leader.
Yeah.
Um, Especially again from my own experience, if you're trying to promote project-based learning across a grade level or an entire school or district, if the administrator can see that sort of ease of or that visibility and ease of implementation, it seems like Project Pals to me is a slam dunk for quickly expediting project-based learning in the culture of a school or district.
Thank you. And now, I also would like to show you, and again, I'm going now. I'm to our blog, and in our blog we have a few districts that are using Project Pals, and we also have, and schools, of course, and we also have even usage in overseas. And just wanted to show you some of the projects that these students have produced. And so here we have one about designing a garden, where students had to actually
Mm-hmm.
design a garden, not before they understood everything about plants, their parts, how do you actually plant, and finally, students even needed to calculate the area of the garden that they are planning, do the entire math of it, of course, as well as put the images of the plants that they are planning to plant on each section of their garden. So
So
this was
cool.
a really amazing project. And then, so you want to be a chef. This is where students actually chose a specific kitchen to focus on, like, for example, Mexican or Middle Eastern. And they had to kind of go into the details of that kitchen and the history and how it changed over time. And finally, even came up with some recipes and even cooked a meal and recorded as they were cooking, just to show you that Project Pause is not just something that you do on screen, but you can also do it off screen. Like, many times in a project-based learning situation, you build something and
Hmm.
you can definitely capture what you're building and then provide the information or the explanation of what you're doing. Because as I said before, as much as building something in project-based learning, the underlying information is as important as the building process itself, because that provides the knowledge for
Hmm.
the students to be able to build on. And so, this is one. And then the other one, this is really amazing. This was done by we created a pilot in India for grades 2 through 12. And
Hmm.
you will see here projects. I mean, just I
Oh,
encourage you
wow.
to go to our blog and to see this amazing project. One of them is about stress and a thorough study how kids play around the world, climate change, you name it. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. And in the end of the whole blog entry, you will see videos of the students presenting their own projects. So I highly recommend
Hmm.
that you look at it. This is
Oh,
really
yeah.
the entire process of how to do a project. And finally, there is also an article about that analytics that I was talking about. So I encourage you to go to, if you want to get more information about what type of information as an administrator or a district leader you can get, or even as a teacher you can get from Project Pulse. I encourage you to come and review this article and see what type of information you can get from the analytics that we provide you. And of course, finally, you can even get like a report like that says school, the actions performed, collaborations, how many projects, so on and so forth. I mean, there's a lot that you can get out of Project Pause.
You can absolutely get a lot out of Project Pals. I love how you've shared these case studies, these user stories on your website, and it goes around the world, and they're using it in such creative ways. I think for me, before we run out of time here, Miriam, one of the things that's most powerful to me is seeing the ways that teachers and students can use a tool in ways that maybe you didn't imagine, and it has to be delightful for you to see the feedback and to see how students are sharing their work. That was made possible because you had this idea all those years ago to hop into a FileMaker database and turn this into something that's accessible to students. It's meaningful to administrators, but above and beyond for a former teacher such as myself, it makes it possible to promote project-based learning and push it to the forefront. But back to how I started with that, it has to be delightful for you as a founder to see your idea adopted and put into practice by all these teachers with their students. Yes?
That's right. And so I will encourage you to go to our website. This is our homepage here, and there's a lot of information, including a lot of case studies that we have here that you can view, as well as those students presenting their projects, testimonials, you name it. You have a lot of information here that you can get. And as I said, also I encourage you to go to the blog, enter to our blog, and see those articles about student projects.
Okay.
So
So in between, oh, I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
go ahead.
In between today and next week, I know folks can watch this video leading up to the virtually different conference. But can you just give us one final word on some things that they can expect to share, and whether that's new features coming from Project Pals or some things that are just on the near horizon ahead of the next school year that
Yes,
might be encouraging for teachers over the summer to consider, whether they're in Indiana or beyond, Miriam? What can
that's
they be
right.
looking forward to next week and beyond?
Yeah, we are actually working on Workspace 2.0. And
Cool.
in Workspace 2.0, we are going to have things like, for example, milestones. You as a teacher will be able to create milestones and add percentages to them and tie the
Yeah.
task that I showed you before to milestones as well. You can also give percentages to the tasks. And so when a student finishes a task, then check marks a task, then that will go against the milestone. So you'll see what percent of the milestone was already done and was performed. We will also tie the standards to the tasks. So basically, you will get like a report that will show milestones against the tasks that were completed and against the standards that actually were fulfilled. And this is just one of those things but in addition to all that, we are also redoing the workspace itself, making it much more, even more user friendly. It is user friendly already, but even more user friendly, even more easy to use and fun. In addition to all that, we will
Mhm.
also create a chat that will allow
Oh,
students to not just communicate within the team, but also to give permission to students outside of their team to provide feedback, which is so important in a project-based learning situation.
so
And
important. You're
so,
right.
so all these things are coming for the next academic year, in fact.
Wonderful. Well, Miriam, I'm no longer in the classroom, but when I think about the spreadsheets, the Google Forms, and other tools that I use to cobble together something to do project based learning digitally, I'm now realizing, as proud as I was of my work, you have blown it away. I would
Mhm.
absolutely use Project Pals with my students versus all the ways that I pulled things together. And I think administrators need to realize that important, powerful tools such as Project Pals are what makes the difference and makes the difference sooner than later. So thank you so much for all the work that you put into this. And I hope a lot of folks that are watching here have a chance to talk to you next week at the conference and find a way to implement project-based learning using Project Pals in their schools and districts. Thank you so much, Miriam.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. Once again, Miriam Bogler, CEO and founder of Project Pals. Be sure to see her session next week, visit with her, and check out their website, read some of their stories and their case studies, and understand how you can present this to your administrators or other decision makers so that you can bring project based learning to the forefront for your school or for your district, no matter where you are. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.